This is the title track from the new solo record I just did, and it's kind of, the whole record's about a tough time in my life. Losing friends and women and stuff like that. And so I guess it's kind of like a rebirth kind of thing. So the record's called I'm Dead Serious, and I'm Dead, comma, Serious. And this song is called I'm Dead, comma, Serious.
I just need a friend or better drugs, something that keeps me good and numb until my body gives up. Now there's 1,000 ways to lose your faith, and it seems I've found every single one. All these lines that I leave behind, just some good news for your troubling times. So we can save all the good times songs, save them for the Bee Gees and the Kings of Leon and anyone else with nothing to say.
And I think it's safe to say most people recognize you as Micah Schnabel, Two Cow Garage, musician, singer,
right,
performer, but you actually wanted to be a baseball player.
Yeah.
When you were a kid.
Yeah.
So what was, what were your feelings about being a baseball player, maybe leading into when you decided to become a musician?
It was just what music is now. That's what baseball was until. It was pretty much an immediate chop because get done with high school, I wasn't good enough to go on, and I didn't have any plans of going to college or anything. But those have been my only two focuses in life. It's like everything was concentrated towards sports when I was young, and then I found music a little bit and started getting into that. And then once it hit, it was like baseball, 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 music. So there wasn't like this push and pull between like, oh, what do I do? Do I go this way? Like, I'm 5'10" and can't run. I was never going to be a professional baseball player, you know. But so yeah, maybe I was just looking for my next thing to put all this nervous energy into, and music, you know, the drums kind of lent themselves to that nervous energy, so it worked out. And then when I moved down here to the city after graduating from high school, I just had a band, but knew I kind of had to adjust it a little bit and find the right people. And but that was the whole thing, you know. I was working at a pizza place. I had no dreams of doing that for the rest of my life, you know. But that was an easy enough job that I could do with my high school diploma and, you know, pay my rent while I was getting the band together to get on the road.
In your early phases, who was supportive or influential in your musical beginnings?
In the very beginning, I guess it was just like a friends thing, you know. You know, you get your little group and you're all kind of supporting each other and learning everything. You know, in the later days, now my family is very, very supportive. They're great, but we had a little rocky start with the whole music thing in the early days.
Do you want to talk about that at all?
Well, you know, I guess we can't. I'm trying to think of a way to approach it. You know, music does affect relationships because to people that play music, you know how important it is to you, and it can affect relationships very negatively. you know, and I think there was a bit of that, you know, in my parents' relationship, and so I think it was probably a little hard for my dad to kind of see me picking up the guitar and seeing it become such a big part of my life that, you know, he knew that it would probably be a lot of heartache down the road from it, you know, so it was just probably protective mode a little bit, you know, so that was where our struggle was a little bit between the two of us.
Now, I think a lot of musicians, at least probably the majority of them that don't tour and don't, you know, maybe do it as a hobby, they have sort of maybe one life where it's like, oh, well, I go out and play music, and then the other life where, oh, I got to button up, put a tie on.
Right.
As a touring musician and committing yourself wholly to this art, does your profession become your personal life, or is there a distinction?
I don't know how to, I mean, it took me a while, because once I started to the point where I didn't have to work a day job anymore, or just couldn't work a day job, probably should have been, but just didn't, you know, didn't work with the schedule. So once I really started to get set into that, you know, I saw myself kind of slipping down this slope of not really writing as much, and just kind of, it gets really easy to just be the party all the time, you know, and I have a tendency to do that, but I've become, in the last, you know, 3 or 4 years, these last 3 years, when I get home, I have to be very structured. You know, I wake up at 9 a.m. and I start writing, you know, and I start working, and I work, you know, I don't turn on the TV, I don't, you know, I'll read and write and play music, you know, until 5 or 6 o'clock at night, you know, because you got to treat it as your job, you know, or else I could wake up and start drinking at 10, you know, or like you could do whatever, but, you know, I have to have that structure, at least that little bit of structure to my life in order to be productive and be an artist and not just, you know, whatever drunken idiot.
How does being on the road impact romantic relationships, having a romantic relationship?
It makes it hard, you know, it'll make a relationship that you would realize was going bad in 2 weeks if you were at home. It might take 6 months, you know, because of the little limited time that you get to spend with somebody, you know, and yeah, so when you do come to them, it's like you get that honeymoon period for a longer period of time, but it also takes longer for you to realize that it's not the person that you wanted to be with, you know, or that you had in your mind. So, and it's just really hard, obviously, on people to be at home sitting and waiting, and then they see that, and especially like going back to like the Facebooks and stuff like that, you know, pictures pop up, and there's me with, you know, like taking a picture with somebody, and I get the phone call the next morning, like, who's blah, 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 who's this, you know, so it's really hard for the whole romantic relationship thing. I have not figured out how to do that.
Now, you had a moment in Alabama.
I did.
With Brandon Barnett from Ghost Shirt.
Mm-hmm.
You want to tell us that story?
Yeah, it was last summer, I believe, and I'd been out, working, and I was doing a 2-week run, just an acoustic run in a car, and had some good shows, but then we kind of hit a skid, and we ended up in Alabama on a Monday night. It was pouring down rain. It was just one of those days where it was everything just to keep moving. Then it got time to play, and there's nobody there, which, you know, isn't that big of a deal, but for some reason on that night, it just all kind of, one of those moments where everything kind of comes crashing down, and I guess I probably just turned 28, and it was just kind of one of those moments where you look at your life, and, you know, I'd been touring for 9 years, you know, like 200 shows a year, just doing all this, and I can't draw 5 people on a Monday night in Alabama. It was just this, I don't know what it was, just moment of total defeat, you know? So I had the guitar in my hands, and I was like, I'm done. I'm going home, and I'm getting a job. Like, I'm done with this. I'm done. I had it up like this, and there are pictures of it, and I'm just like, I have my eyes closed, and I'm just trying to bring myself to finish it, you know? Like trying to break up with that girlfriend or whatever. And luckily I had a couple friends there, and they were like, do you have enough money to go buy a new guitar tomorrow? Because you know we're going to. So you can either save yourself the $300 or, you know, your choice, buddy. But either way, you're going to play the show tomorrow, you know that. So they talked me down. But it was rough, you know, and you have those, in living this life where everything is, you know, nothing is guaranteed and everything is day to day. You're going to hit those lows, and the lows are super low, you know, but the highs are really high.
Well, we're glad you didn't smash your guitar.
Thank you.
We're glad you didn't quit. I must speak for everyone out here.
Oh, what a mess, I'm dead serious. I'm leaving Las Vegas all alone. All these lines that I leave behind, just some good news for your troubling times. Just some good news for your troubling times. Just some good news for your troubling times. Thanks a lot, y'all.